Hey everyone, it's me. I want to talk about intentional and unintentional today, regarding pain and the things we do that either are meant to inflict harm or unintentionally may inflict harm on another person. I was not a perfect parent. I'm sure I messed up plenty of times. Nobody has a book on how to parent, so we do our best and we say, well, I'm going to do better than my parents did. So there's a lot of times our children feel our pain or discipline is intentional. But to set boundaries within a family, to have a sort of balance in a home, a lot of times we discipline, and the pain or anything we inflict upon our children a lot of times may seem intentional, but it is unintentional. We are doing our best to grasp, being a parent, learning step by step what works for one may not work for the other. And uh, a lot of times in my home, I ask my children, is there anything I can do different as a parent? Is there anything you want to see or you don't want to see or you want to see changed? And I'll do my best to make that happen. And that's normally that's normally how my family was, and it was in my home. And I want to talk about a situation that happened a couple of years ago, and I may have discussed this previously, but my children have been gone for 10 years, and 2 years ago, my Nana turned 100 and um, was in the midst of passing away. It was her final days, and she was at home, and we had her very comfortably resting in the living room on a bed. And, everyone was able to swing by and say, and just visit with her before her final day. And I told my sisters, call my kids and tell them to come, and let them know it's probably a good time to swing by. And it had been years, since they had seen my Nana. And uh, I knew they were going to be there. And my fear was, how are they going to react to me when they see me? Well, my youngest daughter showed up when I was there, and she sat about a foot or two, within a foot or two from where I was. I was sitting on my grandmother's bed holding her hand, and my daughter comes in and she sat next to me, and I tried to address her and she ignored me, and she ended up ignoring me the entire time she was there. And she ended up talking about her children, showing them pictures, and showing basically everyone but me pictures of her children. And it was it was a struggle not to reach out and give her a hug, and a struggle not to say, let's talk and let's make things right, let's have a relationship. And I ended up telling my oldest sister, basically the last day my grandma was alive, I said, if my kids show up, I'm going to talk to them. And my sister said, if you talk to them, I'm calling the cops. And it just blew up. And when we went to the funeral, my mother approached my daughters and said, you should go say hi to your mom and give her a hug. And they said, we don't have to talk to her. We're adults and we don't have to do anything we don't want to do, or something in that sphere. And I'll tell you, it was a challenge to keep my mouth shut. It was a challenge. It was a challenge to hold it together, and it was a challenge not to cry. And I just kind of wish children in this situation would at least talk and say, I'd like to tell you how I felt about the home I was raised in. I'd like to tell you how you messed up as a parent. I'd like to be able to share that with you, and to try to at least get some kind of a closure and get some kind of answers. If I'm causing someone pain, I would like to know so I can cease causing them pain. I would. A majority of parents who want and love their children. They don't want to cause them pain. It might seem like I never got joy out of having to discipline my children. I simply wanted to correct and redirect, and that was about it. So if there's anything that you can take from this, it's to give closure on both sides. Even if you're not going to continue with the relationship, or you're going to just completely sever ties, if you could give someone answers or let them know, it's kind of like when someone passes away unexpectedly, you have to send them in. Sometimes you send in for an autopsy so you can get a medical report as to what went wrong, whether it was a heart attack or a stroke or a coma, anything along those lines. So what failed, what in that person's body failed, what that would cease them from continuing to live. And medical diagnosis or an autopsy at least gives you answers. But when someone ends a relationship and doesn't have answers, it leaves people wondering the who, what, where, when, and why. And what could I have done different? Is there anything within my power I could have done different to make things right? And most important, if there's something I need to apologize for, I would love to be able to apologize and at least give you peace, because unresolved endings, it is harmful on both sides. As much as people say, I don't want a relationship with you anymore, and period, of end of sentence. Like, these are the reasons why I had to separate from you, and I'm just letting you know, and that's just the way it is. Just if you could give some sort of clue. So that's it. So we both can live out our remaining years in peace and resolution, and the person that you're breaking free from, at least hopefully they come to a point of acceptance and respect, and that's about it. But that's what I wanted to talk about, is I do not believe a majority of parents intentionally want to cause their children pain. And unfortunately, we are all growing and learning through this process of raising human beings into what we believe can be at their greatest and most ultimate potential. And so even if you write a letter, and you don't even have to put your address on the return on the envelope, just send the letter out and tell that person how you're feeling. But most important, figure out a way to do it constructively so that it is positive for you and positive for that other person, and both people can come to terms. So if there's anything I can do for anyone, I am here. I don't have answers. Just the way it is, but I'm hoping that someday I have answers, and I'm hoping that this helps someone else in their own personal situation to possibly heal, get a little bit of insight, and it may help me. If I got some answers, it may help me to just learn more about who I am. And maybe in turn, if you open the door and you say to your parent, you did this hurt my feelings, and they can say, well, I'm going to explain a little bit more about my life and why I made the decisions I made when I raised you, and hopefully you can get some insight, and we can learn, and we can grow, and we can become better people because of it. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I hope this helps someone else, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.